All right. We are rocking and rolling. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Rise Up, where we talk about responsibility, integrity, service, and empathy in action, and learn what's going on in the world and the difference that I can make today. We've got almost everyone in the studio. We've got Naria Gorder, National Program Coordinator, Ricky
Good
DeSena,
morning.
our lead, yes, our lead UN correspondent. And today we've got a very interesting episode for you and also some heartwarming stories to share and also a little leadership tip from me at the end. So be sure to watch it till the end. All right. So let's start off with Ricky and our news with the UN. I think you've got an interesting discussion about the UN's decade of action. So let's hear about it.
Yeah, thank you, Miilhan. It's just as you said. Today, I wanted to discuss the decade of action. I think to provide some context into what the UN is doing, but then also what that means for us as YSP and as a youth movement. So basically, start off. The decade of action was launched last year. Sorry, not last. Yeah, was that? Yeah, last year. End of like 2019, start of 2020, and it was started as a kind of way to kind of reinvigorate the work that we are doing to accomplish the Sustainable Development Goals. So, from what I understand, one of the issues with the Millennium Development Goals, which was before the SDGs, basically functioned the same way, was that the Millennium Development Goals just had the goals and then some basic kind of like structure to help us like achieve them. But the problem was we just weren't keeping up with the pace we needed to achieve those goals. And so by the time we reached, the time we're supposed to finish the goals, we're supposed to achieve the goals, we weren't anywhere close. So with the Sustainable Development Goals, what they're doing now is, they're having these intervals where they're checking. It's like, hey, how are we doing with the goals, and what do we need to do to stay on track? So recently, partly because of COVID-19 pandemic, uh, partly also because of other variables and situations, um, the Secretary General realized that we were nowhere near where we need to be on our track to achieve the sustainable development goals. And so, because of that, last year he did launch this decade of action. So, the decade of action is basically a call by the United Nations to accelerate the sustainable solutions to all the world's biggest challenges, ranging from poverty and gender to climate change, inequality, and closing the finance gap. And in response to this lack of progress that we're making, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, he said, he called on all of the sectors of society basically to mobilize and start taking action. So something he mentioned was that we've been talking a lot, we've been meeting, we've been discussing what we need to do, but we just haven't been actually going out there and putting those words into action. So what he's saying now is that we need to take action on three different levels. So there's global action, which is to secure greater leadership, more resources, and smart solutions for the sustainable development goals. And then there's local action, which is embedding the needed transitions in the policies, budgets, institutions, and regulatory frameworks. And then there's people action, which is at the ground level, which is including youth, civil society, and the media to like act, at the lowest level. So yeah, what we're looking to do now with a decade of action is really to step up and do more ourselves, but then also ask more from our businesses and our governments. Um, yeah, because we still do have a long way to go, and we basically we need to do more. We need to step up, and we need to be serious about uh, achieving those goals.
Yes, thank you, Ricky. And you know, I can't imagine how simple it must, how complex it must be to get the whole world to do anything, any particular thing. And it's good to have goals. And then the next thing is what is the strategy? What other tactics? And I think having campaigns like this is a step in the right direction. I know with even within the movement of Mother Moon, Father Moon, we do these rallies all the time just to kind of bring our attention to the matter at hand for this year, and it's good to have a focus of some kind. So I think this is great, a good step here. Also, you mentioned about it's not just about what can I do, but what what kind of impact we can make in society through our civic leadership. Because honestly, individuals can't do a whole lot. I mean, it really does come down to. I mean, it starts with the individual, yes, but then also ultimately that cause needs to carry out into society somehow to make a real change, especially with things like climate change, which it's like not just one individual, you know, recycling or something. It's like you need all the corporations to change, if not radically, at least together. So yeah, I totally agree with that. And also, well, maybe let's go to Nario. What do you think? Any comments about it? The
Um,
decade of
yeah, I can see why there's really an important push and emphasis on this decade of action because, like Ricky had mentioned last time, because of COVID, all the goals and things like the targets to achieve for the SDGs were like set back like probably several years, maybe decades. So that makes things a lot more challenging to try to reach those goals. But like he had mentioned, Antonio Guterres says like we're not reaching the benchmarks to actually reach towards the 2030 goals. So yeah, it's really sharing the news, the awareness. I mean, regular citizens in probably most countries, I know definitely in the US, don't know what the SDGs are. So I think definitely spreading awareness about it, what they are, and give suggestions and also examples of ways to participate and contribute. That would be ways to possibly help with that.
right, just like we do here on Rise Up and Synergy, and it's good to pick some goals so that people can make it real in their own lives. Otherwise, it sounds like a great grand idea for someone else to do. So yeah, very good point there. And we should probably mention that we attended the SDG zone. At least you both did. And I don't know if there's some comment from there. There was a 3-day conference, everyone, that some of us attended, where we focused on poverty, gender equality, and climate change. And so I don't know if there was some takeaway that we can share with everybody, all of our viewers. Maybe maybe Ricky, anything there?
Uh, yeah, I mean, again, they were emphasizing decade of action. They're emphasizing action over, just having these conversations which are important. Um, so yeah, I think what really stood out to me from overall from SDG Action Zone was there's a lot of call to action there. There's a lot of like, hey, let's do this, let's try this. Oh, we need to plant more trees. Here's an organization that's planting trees. Let's support them. So yeah, that's my kind of like overall perception of the conference is yeah, they're definitely kind of like pushing more to actually like go out and do something.
Mhm. So it's like take action and like supporting existing organizations that are already doing efforts on that. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Encouraging. Glad we're working together. It's always nice. Nari, any takeaway from you?
I was mostly able to attend the last one, the climate action one. So, the parts that I remember, like when they asked the panelists, like, what are like some final words or words of advice do you have for the audience? And for one session, both panelists were like, we have two, and one of them for both was planting trees. And one other person said was, watch where you invest your money. Like, make sure you're investing into things that aren't going to damage the environment. So that, I thought that stuck up pretty well for me. So that's something that we can all do, is kind of make sure, like, whatever we spend our money on, is it into companies that basically are reaping and things from the earth and the resources and just completely damaging the earth, or is it I always think about, like, when I'm grocery shopping, everything's wrapped in plastic kind of thing. So I'm trying to think of, like, finding produce or things to buy that is either recyclable material like paper or cardboard, like even eggs. I try to find eggs that are in cardboard cartons versus the plastic or styrofoam ones. So it's very small, but at least I feel better about myself just even a little bit.
Yeah, actually, just to add on to that, it's funny because like in the States there's this concept of like farmers market, but like here when I'm in the DR, it's like that kind of thing is just like everywhere. You can like walk down the street and there's like people just randomly selling like vegetables and fruits and stuff like that, and like they don't use like plastic bags. You just like grab them out of like the boxes and carry them with you. And so yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. People talk about like plastic bags. We need that to like carry stuff, but I don't know. I think it's more of like a first world kind of like concept. Like,
I think it's because our food comes from such faraway places. They're not produced locally. And
yeah,
that's why there's been a big emphasis on, like, support local farms and markets, because it doesn't travel as far. And so you don't use as much fuel and carbon emissions. And also it's usually not wrapped in plastic, because you have all these, like, produce and vegetables and all things that we eat. If they come from across the country or overseas, they have to be packed really well so they don't get damaged. So that's a lot of packaging over packaging and packaging. So
yeah, yeah. So I
Well,
definitely think that's the other side of it, is like supporting like farmers and stuff.
well, that's why I love this concept so much. It's like you see your dollar bills like votes, right? Wherever you put your dollars is where you're voting for that company to thrive and continue what they're doing. So that's a great point. And I mean, frankly, it's cheaper to ship things across the country and around the world than it is to grow things locally, which is kind of odd, but that's just the capitalistic society we live in. So we have to kind of use that system to encourage more sustainable practices. So, and in case you don't know, like organic, it's not so much it's healthier for you, but it's actually they use sustainable practices in their agriculture. They also tend to be better quality because they tend to take better care of the produce or whatever. And I've actually studied this in my food science background, so go for it. If you like organic, just know that you're also supporting the environment too. This is awesome stuff. It sounds like a good synergy idea, by the way. They kind of raise awareness of what each of these companies, what's their carbon footprint, or just what kind of practices are better than others. So I love it. Great stuff. All right, let's go into our good news. Although we didn't have so much bad news today. But Nario, if you want to share with us the articles.
sure. So Iris actually sent these to me, or to us to be able to share. So she's still here in spirit and supporting us for our weekly Rise Up. So I don't know which one Ricky's going to pull up image-wise, but we have two articles. All right, let's start with this one. So we were just talking about food. So in Vancouver, in Washington, they started a supermarket. It's a new kind of supermarket, and it's opening specifically to get unwanted food and produce into the hands of people who need or want it, thereby sparing it from being dumped into the landfill. So it's called the Food Stash Foundation's Rescued Food Market, and it's opening actually tomorrow, October 1st, and is located on 2nd Avenue. It's going to be every Friday for 3 hours. They're going to open this up to people, and any people can take whatever they want, and they only have to pay what they feel like, and what they rather than what they can. So it can be whatever they want to give. So it's a really cool concept that's started. So that way, food isn't getting wasted, but people are also able to buy things if they need to, if they have food insecurity, or they want to try to make a more sustainable impact on the planet. And so this option is a great idea, I thought. And kudos to the people who put this together, because it's not easy to take the time to go around and collect all these things from different supermarkets, or even from the dumpsters and everything. So that's one thing. So I'm sure there are other places that probably have created this model. So there's a new one that's now starting in Vancouver. And the next other story. So you probably have heard many times about the wildfires that are happening in California. So this man and his daughter from Colorado, they also were keeping track of the news about this and decided they wanted to help out these people who have lost their homes. And so basically it started with a GoFundMe to buy one RV that he drove to California to give to somebody that had lost their home with the wildfires in California. And this news spread, and so people started to contact him and wanted to donate their RVs. And so he collected up to 95 RVs to donate to families in California who have lost their homes and didn't have a place to stay. And even in the article, it mentions that most of the people who had lost their homes were even firefighters and first responders who were battling the fire, but they couldn't even protect their own homes. So they're living in tents in their cars and didn't have a permanent place to stay. So being able to receive this RV, being able to call it a home and with their family and celebrate the holidays. It was during Thanksgiving time that most people had lost their homes. They're incredibly grateful. So just this act of kindness from this father-daughter duo is really inspiring to see, because he's a full-time worker. He has like 4 kids, and he's driving from Denver to California to bring these RVs to them and they have a list of like 100 people, I think, on the waiting list, but they've already got 95 families situated with RVs. So that is the good news for today.
Yeah, thank you, Nari and Iris. You know, I don't know why I was starting to get emotional. I don't know, just today I was replacing the batteries in our smoke detector, and you know, I was explaining to my daughter how, you know, the reason why it's so loud is because you know, when you put the batteries in, it has to test, and it's like super loud, pierces your ears, but it's because, you know, because if you're sleeping, you need to wake up, and if there's a fire, and go out the window. And I'm just imagining being losing everything and just not knowing what to do with your kids and how to navigate all that, make sense of it all, or ask why this is happening. And then to go from living in cars and tents to like even an RV, it sounds kind of exciting too. It's like, wow, it's kind of adventurous, you know. And even though, you know, it's crazy how you can lose so much so quickly, but at the same time, you can start an adventure with your family like that. So yeah, what a really cool project. I'm so glad that we're able to raise the funds and support that effort. Yeah. And with the food, yeah, you're right, Nari. As you probably know, it's not easy to collect food like that. Plus, there's a lot of there's liabilities too. I know I worked in a food industry, like a produce kind of repackaging center, and you can't just give that food away because you have to make sure it's safe and all that. And so it does take a lot of effort to make something like that. So kudos to them. And I love the model. It kind of puts human decency also back into it, where it's like, look, you can give something. And I think people more, because also distribution is difficult, right? Because people often don't like handouts. They kind of, you know, and so it's nice to give them a chance to pay. I think is a very respectable way to go about it. Yeah, and I'll admit, when I was growing up, I had the discounted, reduced cost for lunches. You know, instead of like paying $1.50, we paid 40 cents, and that helped our family a lot. So, but also we got to give something, you know, at the same time. So, wow, that sounds like such a little amount of money.
It does. I was going to ask, how old are you?
I'm 34, but my goodness. Anyway, inflation, guys. All right. What do you guys think? Or Ricky, any comment?
Yeah, I know. Obviously, like that's super amazing. I mean, both the articles, one about the RV and then also the one about the grocery store. And yeah, I was also wondering about the legality of the grocery store because, like, I know I heard somewhere that uh, you have to be really careful while like donating food because if it like makes a person like sick or something, then you get into like area where they can get sued or something. So, yeah, like when I saw that, I was interested, like respect to that. It's like, oh, where they're doing like legally to make sure like they're okay and not getting into trouble and stuff like that. But yeah, I can imagine like from the just seeing it, you're probably like, oh, that's really nice, what they're doing, but like, it's also like a lot of work to like both gather all the products and stuff, but then also there's probably a lot of work behind the scenes that they're doing to make sure like everything's like legally they're okay and all the staff that all the staff that they need and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's true, but I can testify that a lot of food is thrown away. It is very real, and a lot of it's because you just don't have space to keep it all. Meanwhile, you
Mm.
can't sell stuff that's close to being, not expired, but just best sell by. Best sell by date is not like expiration date. It's
Mm.
like it just means that they have to sell it by that time. But it's still safe to eat, and in many cases the quality is not different either. So
Yeah,
they really are saving the food. Honestly, they really are.
yeah. I mean, we also heard about like bakeries that would like donate their food like at the end of the day to like just homeless shelters and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I know it's possible.
but it does take work. It definitely does. Then you gotta have trust and be legit and everything.
Yeah,
You can't just oh, free food, just like this, give it away, and it's a little more involved than that. Yeah.
mm.
Okay, let's go to our thank you, Naria. Let's go to our final little leadership tip here. Um, we have an intern in our office right now, and so I've been giving him some leadership tips. And this is the one I shared with him.
Oh, and we've lost Miilhan. You're frozen.
You're doing so well.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, it's back.
Am I back now?
Yes.
Am I back? Yes. Okay. So I recommended this book to him called Tribes by Seth Godin, and basically he talks about how to start a movement with an idea and bringing people together based on that idea. This also kind of accentuates the power of powerful ideas that you really believe in and can speak about consistently over time. And so, and often I kind of, and after I read this book, it helped me understand how I became a leader because I don't really like public speaking. I don't like leading much of anything. Yet I found myself in this. Oh no, Ricky, what are you talking about? You love power. You love. In fact, I think all three of us here, like we don't really want more power or influence. We just find ourselves in the center, and it's because you believe in something, and when you keep talking about this idea, um, it's one thing to kind of inspire one person, but what happens is another person comes into the circle, and so instead of just talking your idea to two different people, you're bringing these two people together based on your idea. And so now they're actually talking to each other about your idea. And then what they do is they multiply that idea, they share it with someone else, and then they do the same thing. But as long as you keep doing that, people are going to come back to you for, oh, please explain more detail, or what's next, or they're going to keep asking you, yeah, that idea is so amazing, so like, what are we doing about it? I can't tell you how many times people ask, oh, what's next, I'm like, I don't know. It's like, but usually there's something to say. And then so we think leadership, like you're the top dog telling people what to do. Like, okay, yeah, if you're a CEO of a company or something, or of an organization, yes, that's fine. But to be the leader of a movement, you just got to find yourself in the center of this idea that people already resonate with, but maybe they didn't know how to articulate it or express it in a way, especially as consistently and as passionately as you can. And so if you want to make change, then you just got to, the question is, what is that one thing that you're so passionate about and can speak about enthusiastically over like 10 years? Then you absolutely can be the start of a movement. But often we don't really believe in our own ideas, and that's usually where we fall short. And this is why I love Synergy so much, because we just had a session with some young kids just this past couple weekends, and I just tell them that there's one rule in my classroom, and that is there's no such thing as a dumb question. There's no such thing as a dumb idea. You might think it's dumb or like it's some kind of joke, but if you tell it to me, I'm telling you, I'm going to take it very seriously, because I don't want to be the guy who scoffed at the world changing idea from some kid somewhere. So I don't want to take responsibility for that. So I think it's important for each of us to listen and ask young people, how would you solve this world problem? And just like Sherlock Holmes, right? What they're having some kind of what's it? Just some kind of social situation, and someone says something that makes him think about, oh yeah, that's it. Like, that's how he connects the dots, is just through these random sort of events. And just in the same way, any young person somewhere can come up with the idea. And so I'm on a mission right now to make Synergy global. And in fact, when you look even at this UN Decade of Action, and I'm going to close with this. I'm going to pull this back up here just a second. So what does the Decade of Action do? Well, mobilize, demand urgency, and this: supercharge ideas to solutions. We will shine light on solutions that expand access and demonstrate the possibilities of ideas. We will drive sustainable innovation, financial investments, and technology, while making space in our communities and cities for young people to lead. So basically, the UN is supporting Synergy. So should you. So with that, let's pass over to Naria for our closing updates and dates, including Synergy. So please.
All right. I don't know if we have the images yet, but so yeah, this coming Saturday, October 2nd at 6 p.m. online, if you go to our Facebook page, you'll be able to see our New Jersey Waterway Synergy event that will be happening. So we have 3 guest judges from the NJDEP and also river-related NGOs from locally around New Jersey. And we have 3 young presenters who will be presenting their ideas and proposals of how to either access or protect the waterways in their local communities around northern New Jersey. So I'm excited and looking forward to seeing how that turns out. And you can vote for your favorite one. So there is online voting. Judges get 70% of the weight, and then audience members get 30%. So your vote does count. And then in 2 weeks after that is October 16th. There it is. So that's the New Jersey Waterway one. So if you go to the Facebook event page or just our YSP USA page, you'll see the live stream there, and you can participate and vote. 6 p.m. Eastern. And then October 16th is the one on climate action. The deadline for submission has not ended yet. It's going to be October 9th. So you have 1 more week. If you have an idea for the climate action synergy, to be able to submit your presentation and idea and possibly be able to go down to the finals and win cash grants. So again, October 9th is the deadline for this submission. And this event there's a high school and an undergrad group. So you have to be a current high school or undergraduate student in order to participate. And I think that's it for the synergies.
Mm-hmm. You can enter the contest yourself, or you can at least participate live. I already mentioned, so please do so. We look forward to seeing you there. We'll be chatting it up so you can get to know us too. All right, with that, thank you for joining today. We're at the bottom of the hour. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Right. Bye.
Bye.